What's up, everyone? So I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how to train legs with resistance bands, or can resistance bands build big legs? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now, I've actually got a question for you before I jump into the tip of the week. And that is, what is the largest muscle, not only in your lower body, but in your whole body? And the answer is your glutes. That's the biggest muscle in your entire body. It's bigger than your quads, bigger than your hamstring. Now I want you to think about for a second, what are all the girls out there using to build their butts? They're using booty bands. Now, forget the girls who are like putting implants in their butts, that doesn't count. But think about all these girls who have developed all these big round booties using booty bands. So think about it for a second. Obviously, you don't need a ton of weight. You don't have to squat 500 pounds in order to build the largest muscle in your body. We're not powerlifting here. If you want to get just purely stronger, then yeah, you got to go lift heavy weight. If you want to build muscle, it's all about good technique and it's about peak contraction. So I'm actually going to show you a couple tips here for using resistance bands to build those legs. Now, one of the biggest questions is, well, how do I get the right amount of resistance? Where do I hold the band if I'm doing squats? Do I hold it here at the shoulder? You know, a lot of times you'll see me do overhead squats. Why is that? Well, a couple reasons. One, when I'm trying to teach someone how to squat the right way, I have them do an overhead squat. Why is that? Well, if I were to turn sideways here, the biggest mistake that I see people make when they're doing squats is they'll come down here and their back comes forward like this and their ass goes backwards. And then as they're coming back up, they think they're using their legs, but they're not. They're using all this back. Just like that. And this is what their squat ends up looking like right here. A proper squat, you want to drop that butt straight back and down with your torso upright. So why do I have people do overhead squats? Well, because putting your hands above your head forces you to keep your torso upright, just like this. If I start to see my hands come out in front of me, that means I've got to come more upright. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is because of variable resistance. The more you stretch the band, the harder it is. So by putting them overhead, we're really stretching out that band, creating a lot of resistance. Now, there is another way to create a lot of resistance, and it's not a traditional squat. Now, here's another question for you. What's the biggest difference between a deadlift and a squat? Well, if we're using a bar, the biggest difference is really the center of gravity in our body position. I keep picking that band up and throwing it back down. If we're doing a squat, we've got that weight right along pretty much the center of our body. And like I said, we're keeping our torso more upright, dropping the butt. With a deadlift, the bar is out in front of us. And as we come forward, you can see my back starts to get a little more parallel towards the ground. We're coming like at a 45-degree angle. So I'm not getting as much flexion in the knees. You can see here that I never get 90 degrees in a deadlift. And that is primarily the biggest difference between the two. And that's why when we're doing deadlift, we're working a lot more hamstrings, glutes, and back, or especially low back. Squats, we engage more of the quads because we're getting more range of motion in the knee. Instead of that 45-degree, we're getting 90 degrees, at least if you're doing squats the right way. So I'm going to show you how to do a deadlift, a variation of a deadlift using resistance bands that mimics a squat. So we've got our resistance, our line of pull is right in the center of the body like it is a squat, and we're getting that same kind of movement in the knee, 90 degrees, to go ahead and engage the quads more. Pick this up hopefully for the last time here. So here's what this is going to look like. I'm going to stand about 45 degrees from you guys so you can see it more clearly. So doubling the band up, I'm going to go ahead and step on it. Now, the wider I go with my feet, the more I'm shortening the band here and the more resistance I'm creating. So if I want less resistance, I can go with the narrower stance because we're going to grab it right inside the loop, just like that. So I'm going to go a little bit wider. Now you can see when I get into position here, see how my butt is dropped all the way back and I've got 90 degrees at the knee? This is the same body position as a squat. And then I press straight up, driving through the heels, just like that. all the way back down. Squeeze it at the top, and again, drop that butt straight back down. Now, you want to add more resistance? All you have to do, start doubling up the bands, just like that. And you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to step on both of them, run your hands through the loops, and you can create as much resistance as you need. Now, one thing that I want you to start thinking about is there is a difference between powerlifting and let's call it bodybuilding or building muscle. Powerlifting is just about strength. So yes, if you want to squat heavier, then you have to squat heavier, meaning you have to squat more weight. If you want to build muscle, again, it's about peak contractions, good form. Trust me, you do these the right way, your whole leg is going to be on fire. Your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings. So that's just one exercise using resistance bands to build big muscle. I'll see you guys next time.